Hey guys, this is Eka here. I'm going to be doing a demo on ellipses in perspective for Wayfarer. This is my first time recording something, so bear with me. It might be a bumpy ride. So I'm going to be using Wayfarer's background. She had the fountains going on. And the important thing about perspective is that boxes are your best friend. They're going to hold your hand, they're going to comfort you, and they're going to help you through the tough times. Basically, if you're having any issues with anything in perspective, try and throw it in a box because that will kind of help you along the way and kind of guide you in the right direction. So this is all the same. Basically, ellipses can also be made in boxes. And let's go ahead and bring her background into Photoshop. Here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is get my crop tool and get more canvas going on. It's pretty awesome. I'm using Photoshop for those that don't know. And maybe a little bigger. A little more. Alright, that's good. Alright, now I'm going to zoom in for you guys. Kind of get a better idea of what's going on. Alright, so when you're doing perspective, like I've mentioned before, one of the most important things is your horizon line. And your horizon line is your viewer's eye. It's basically you as a viewer and where you're looking. And based on Wayfarer's background, I'm looking for some visual cues as to where this horizon line might be. So the first thing I'm going to look at is the bottom of her fountain. We have these ellipses going on, and they're pretty wide, they're pretty long, and you can tell that we're actually looking down at them. So that's the first cue that our eye is actually somewhere above these ellipses. So the next ellipse is this next part of the fountain we can see. She's showing us the top of this fountain. So that's also saying our eyesight is above this part of the fountain as well. And it's actually a little more flatter. And I don't know if she knew this, beforehand or it's just intuitive, but ellipses do get smaller and flatter the closer you get to your horizon line. And then we have the top of the fountain right here, which is actually starting to curve away from us. And we can no longer see the ellipse. So that also indicates that now our eyesight is in fact below. So somewhere between these two parts of the fountain is going to be our horizon line. I am just going to throw it in there and keep going. So I'm going to grab a pretty red, 5 pixels, and I'm going to say somewhere in here it's going to be my horizon line. Now you can change this however you want if it's not working for you, but I'm just going to keep rolling with it for this perspective demo. So we have our horizon line. I'll even name it HL exclamation point arrow. All right, so the next thing, second most important part to find, is our vanishing point. And I'm just going to be doing 1-point perspective. These techniques I'll be covering transition across all points of perspective. So if you are doing 2-point, you can use the same exact thing. It'll help you out no matter where you use it. And so for 1-point perspective, I'm just going to say the vanishing point is about, on par with the middle of this fountain. So let's get a different color, like, I don't know, a really bright green, and say, you know what, our vanishing point, I'm going to put it like right about here. Right here. And I'll label it VP. So, let's continue. Let's start laying down our lines, shall we? I'm going to go back to red for our lines. And all lines always converge to your vanishing point. It's most important. And I'm going to continue building off what she's got set up here. So I'm going to say the edge of this fountain is going to hit right at the edge for this line edge line. And now because I want these exact same angle, I'm not here making a rectangle. I'm trying to make a box in perspective, and I want to keep it, as similar as possible. So why, I can't see the other side of the fountain. Why am I going to guesstimate? I'm just going to copy this line and transform it over. So I had the exact same angle, hitting the exact same area. Here we go. Alright, so now I want to look for, actually I lost my toolbar there. I want to look for the bottom of this fountain. And, I'm probably going to base it off of this line, this ellipse right here. And then I'll just build off of that. So I'm going to grab my little perspective line tool. Not really perspective tool, just my line tool. And draw a straight line over. And a straight line over. And then I'm going to also follow her visual cues back here. She's suggesting that the back of the fountain is ending, ellipse is ending back here somewhere. So I'll just draw a straight line over. Kind of complete that. This is where I get picky. Alright, so we have this box going on now. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Wrong button. I'm going to combine these shapes. Alright, so we have this lovely box. And this is where our ellipse is going to fit into, right here. And actually, I just gave you a hint. It's what we're going to do next. So I'm going to do that. We're going to actually make an X within this box. So I'm going to switch it up to a different color again. Let's go back to green. And I'm going to draw through. You know, like I said, I'm picky. I really want to be... You know what? I'm actually going to decrease this line weight too. That's kind of heavy. Let's put it down to 3. Alright, one more time. Cross, across. Alright, so we have this X. Now, the beautiful thing about this X is that it shows us the exact center of our ellipse. And this also will be the exact center of your fountain too. So, huzzah to that. What am I looking for? Here we go, brush tool. The exact center, right here. Awesome. So, next we're going to put a cross within this box. Now we found the exact center, we want to cross. So, to find the middle line through this box, we're going to, stick with purple, go from the vanishing point, pull it through that middle center of your X. And there you go. And now we want to find the horizontal line, and that's going to be straight horizontal. This is 1-point perspective, nothing fancy, just pull that line straight across. And now you have this really great X and cross in your box. And these are your road maps. They're going to lead you down the path of perspective. Hopefully. Alright, so these things are very important. And what we're going to look for is that when we build an ellipse within this box we have, your ellipse is actually going to hit right along where the cross hits your box. So right here, right here, right here, and right here. And now these diagonal lines also are a guideline, and usually your ellipse is going to run about 1/3 to halfway from the edge inwards. So, you know, about 1/3, more like 1/3, because you need to curve it up. And let's look right here. All right, there you go. Now it's a simple game of connecting those dots. So you just sketch it in, make sure your ellipse is hitting the edges and going through the lines. Want to make sure it hits. Curve around. Make that curve. Not the prettiest thing in the world. Making ellipses on the fly. And voila. Alright, like I said, not the prettiest thing, but gets the job done and kind of gives us an idea of what we're looking for. Now, this is Photoshop, and I don't draw ellipses perfectly without exactly like making jaggedy lines. So if you're using Photoshop, here's a quick tip on how to make an ellipse outline. I'm going to grab my shape tool. Let's fill it in with black. And I'm just going to make a ellipse that's just like the one I drew, more or less. Maybe a little wider. Alright. Now this is a shape, so we're going to rasterize it. And then I'm going to control click the layer picture, and it's going to make a selection of that ellipse. We're going to go to select, modify, contract. 5 pixels sounds lovely. Oh, it's on my other monitor. Here we go. 5 pixels. Click OK and delete. Control D, deselect, and you have your ellipse. So this is basically the water in your fountain. This is the ellipse. Well, not really. It's the edge of your fountain, because there's that other ellipse inside. And you can still make that, if you want. You can say, hey, I want to grab my line tool, and I want to lower the opacity in all these guys so I can continue on my merry way. And let's get, I don't know, orange up in here. And say, well, I want to find this inner ellipse. Same thing. Go to your vanishing point. Draw out to kind of like where you wanted it, essentially, like right here. I'm going to, actually I'm going to undo that and make it a little longer. I can never have it long enough. I'm going to Command J that over, copy it, flip it, move it over, get it kind of lined up, and say, okay, that's as wide as it's going to be. Let's go off your visual cues, and you want it to come out this far right here. So draw a line over, and then I'm not sure about the back one, but this is kind of where you guess, because the space right here is always going to be bigger than the space back here, because stuff tends to recede back in space, so it's going to be narrower. So you can kind of make an educated guess. Or I just simply had a brain fart and can't remember exactly how to mathematically measure it out, which is quite possible. But I'm not here for perfection, I'm here for almost perfection. So, let's say it ends right about, well, let's do that better. Right about here. Well, maybe a little further back. Right about there. Same thing. Draw your crosses through. Which you can see, it lines up at the middle again. You already have your previous X's, so don't even worry about that. Let's get red back up in here. Make a new layer. Find your dots. Let's see. Dots. And you can sketch it out. Make sure it hits. And there you go. There's the middle of your fountain. And that's where your water is going to be. So get it all blue and happy. Yay! And accidentally merged my black outlines of the fountain below. Yay for me. Hate when that happens. It's too late to undo it. So, and you can kind of see, I'll go over it real roughly, where the actual edge of the stone part of the fountain was. And there you go. And then if you want to find the bottom, you can do the same. Make it a little larger where you want to hit. Fill it in. And then you're going to draw the line down from the widest point of the ellipse. And I tend to curve it in a little bit. Angle it in. Get a little spice of life. Just going to wing that all over the place. And then, you still have that center point. You can keep carrying that up all the way through. build your boxes. Remember that in front it's going to be wider than in back. And keep your angles the same. And I think it'll serve you wonderfully. So there's a really quick demo on ellipses in perspective. I'm going to stop it here, otherwise it's going to get really tedious. And I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.